Hello and welcome back, ladies and gents. Today I'm going to talk a bit about my convention that I went to last weekend. I went to a convention called CoxCon, which already gives rather dodgy implications, but basically it was a convention for certain YouTubers that I follow online. The convention is actually, the reason it's called CoxCon is because one of the guy that runs it is his name is Jesse Cox, and basically it all stemmed from, I think, a failed convention a few years ago, and then he went over, did some stuff, and then last year we had his first CoxCon. This was the second one, and it was really good. So for me, this was my first convention that I'd ever been to. I was pretty nervous because I wasn't really sure what to expect, but all in all I had a really good time and the whole thing was enjoyable. It was up in Telford, which luckily everything is very compact. So getting the train to the hotel's right next to the International Centre is where it was, and there were other things to do around the area. But basically the convention had these gaming YouTube personalities. You had Jesse Cox, hence the name CoxCon. You had Total Biscuit and his wife Jenna Bain, and who were famed from John on Total Biscuit's channel, mainly his WTF series and his critique that he does. And then you had a couple of other people as well. You had Gerard the Completionist, who does reviews amongst other gameplay stuff. Alex, I don't want to try and pronounce his last name, Faciani I think, was there, and then Davis from the Warp Zone. So quite a good mix of people. Oh, and Crendor, can't miss out Crendor, who's also another person who's mostly WoW content, but other things as well. But anyway, my experience of this was great. So on the first day, I got there on the Friday, the convention started on Saturday, and I was sort of just got there, booked into the hotel, and was just sort of wandering around and, you know, sorting things out and getting the passes for the weekend. And on the Friday, something kind of funny happened to me personally, and a bit surreal really. As I was walking back from Asda's food to the hotel, I actually saw Jesse Cox walking up towards sort of the food areas and stuff like that. And I sort of did a double take because I didn't expect to see him there. He was on his own, which I wasn't expecting, and he looked at me and started shaking his head. And at the time, I was wearing a different shirt. It was one of Total Biscuit shirts that he made that said "All fanboys must die" on it. And he looked across at me and he was like, "That is a terrible shirt." And I looked down at the shirt and then back at him and I was like, "What do you mean this is a terrible shirt?" And he was just like, "No, it's a terrible shirt." And that experience was kind of weird because you don't really expect to talk to these people when you go to a convention. You know, you can when you go for the signings and things like that, but to see that sort of like natural thing, you realise these people are human. But I think when you enjoy someone's content or they're or famous in the fields you're interested in, it becomes a bit weird. So that happened, and that kind of made my day. I was like, "Oh, I've just been insulted by Jesse Cox. Great." Like, I went back to the hotel, and that was sort of my day in a nutshell. And then Saturday rolls around, and the convention starts, and they have this big darkened room in the convention centre. There's a huge queue, and we didn't go in until most of the queue got down, which was fine because me and my friend who were there, we ended up sitting in the same place most of the time, and it was great. And we had a really good time because the guy who was sort of introducing everybody, I wish I knew what his name was, but he was like sort of the MC for the weekend, was great. Fantastic, he was, kept everyone entertained. And then the first panel happened, which was Jesse introducing everybody. It's like a massive ego boost for him. And then we had a one panel where people were asking him questions, and I was lucky enough to ask him a question there as well, which again, very surreal, but it was good. It was very enjoyable. And then, as the day went on, we had other sessions, one with Total Biscuit and his wife, and then we had the Scary Game Squad, I believe, later on, where they were playing Alien Isolation, which was funny to watch. I think the atmosphere in the crowd, as well as like the panels and stuff, it was really good back and forth. Wasn't a huge amount of heckling. Well, I mean, there was some, but it worked out really well. It was enjoyable watching these panels. No one was being too much of a dick, so the whole Saturday was great. Sunday more of the same really. Like, they had different panels on. We had Cox and Crendor doing their panel first thing in the morning, and then unfortunately most of Sunday I didn't get a chance to see the other ones. I had to leave early and I missed the second one. I got the times wrong, but what I did, I was also lucky enough to meet both John Bain, Total Biscuit, and his wife, Jenna, and that was very surreal for me because most of the weekend I didn't want to be like how most people are, almost a super fanboy thing. So I thought, well, I don't really have anything to say apart from thank you for the content you made. But on the second day there was a tiny queue, and they were both sat there, and I was sat there with my friend, and I was like, oh, I don't know, and then I thought, sod it, I'm going to go over. And I waited there for about half an hour, and I finally got to meet them, and it was an absolute pleasure. Like, they were super friendly, real nice. I mean, I felt bad for them because they must have been doing so much signing for the last few days, but what was nice about it was just how, like, I said what I wanted to say, and I said to Total Biscuit, and he was just like about the whole thing, because I said, I was like, thanks for the hard work, and it was like, nothing, like, I think he, must find it just as weird. I think all of them must find it just as weird. They're just doing a job, But it was good. I mean, I got to sign my 3DS, which I was quite happy about, which will probably rub off. So I need to take a picture of that before it's gone. But all in all, the entire experience was enjoyable. And for my first ever convention, I would definitely go back, and I would recommend it to people that haven't been to a convention. Something on a smaller scale is a nice place to start. Like, I've never been to a Comic-Con or anything like that. And it's like 100,000 people, or something extreme, which I probably wouldn't cope with very well. But this might have been, I think it was about 2,000 people, might have been more than that. But it didn't seem like a lot. Like, it seemed the right amount of people with the right size. And the cool thing was, it wasn't just these panels. There was other stuff going on as well. Like, there was little vendors selling stuff. There was somebody doing books. There was some of these smaller indie companies showing off their games. Like, there was so much stuff. Really, it didn't feel like there was a lot of things there, but really, when you think about it, over the 2 days, there was plenty to do. There was gaming tournaments, there was prize pools, just so much cool things, and it was a really enjoyable experience to go out and do this. So if it happens again next year, I'll absolutely go again, and hopefully maybe get to ask more questions or not. Even if I don't, I'm quite happy to sit there and listen, and hopefully next time I won't miss the 2 panels that I wanted to see as well. But I would absolutely recommend it to anyone who's never been to a convention. If something that interests you, try and go to something that's a bit smaller maybe to start with, just so that you don't have to be stood around in queues, because I wasn't prepared to stand in most queues of the weekend. I didn't see the point, really. I didn't want to waste my time when I could be walking around and seeing other things and enjoying the panels. But if you ever get a chance to do it, I would say absolutely recommend. Anything on a small scale is good, and hopefully CoxCon 2017 will happen, and hopefully I will go again and enjoy it as much as I did this time. Anyway, that's it from me from now, so I'll see you guys next time.